Welcome back to Press Review in Depth. A mining incident in western Turkey on Tuesday led to protests and outpourings of grief across the country. The ruling AKP party is now under fire from those who are unhappy with their reaction. Let's see more from the papers. An Al Monitor article by Orhan Kemal Cengiz says that as the death toll from the mine disaster in Soma approaches 300, the ruling AKP party is under fire. Many are asking if government negligence is responsible. Statistics compiled by the Worker Health and Safety Assembly suggest the accident is an outcome of Turkey's chronic work safety problem. According to the figures, 1,235 workers were killed in 2013 and an additional 396 in the first 4 months of 2014. The article says the Turkish Union of Architects and Engineers Chambers slams the privatisation of mines and the overall policies regulating the sector. The article says the context of the Soma disaster emerges further with the remarks that the boss of the mine made back in an interview in 2012. Alp Gürkan, owner of Soma Holding, which acquired the mine in 2007, boasted that his company had reduced production costs to $23.80 per tonne of coal, down from the $130 to $140 the public operator had managed before privatisation. The article concludes the ruling party seems to have recklessly turned a blind eye to an accident waiting to happen. Obviously, none of the concerns over the general state of the mining sector or the particular problems in Soma were taken seriously, and no measures were taken. An Economist article says the tragedy in Soma will also be felt in politics. The article says the Soma accident will focus new attention on Turkey's dismal coal mining safety record. Nearly 600 miners have died since 1983 before this week. The article adds the Labour Ministry gave the Soma mine a clean bill of health in March. On a visit last year, Mr Yildiz heaped praise on it. Yet Özgür Özel, a deputy from the opposition Republican People's Party, petitioned the parliament in April to launch fresh inspections, saying he had been inundated with complaints from his constituents about safety conditions. The article adds the disaster may yet unleash more mass protests of the kind that rocked Turkey last summer. These were prompted by government plans to build a shopping mall over Gezi Park in Istanbul. Hundreds of protesters have already clashed with police, calling the Soma accident murder and demanding that the government resign. In the Istanbul metro, commuters played dead on platform floors in solidarity with the miners. The trade unions and the pro-Kurdish People's Democracy Party separately called for a nationwide strike on May 15th. Well, we're now joined by Fadi Hakura, Associate Fellow at Chatham House. Fadi, thanks for joining us on the show.
Thank you.
So this disaster has caused 284 deaths so far, and there have been many criticism of the government's reaction to the disaster. What does the AKP reaction tell us about the place of the party in Turkish politics?
I think that the AKP's reaction to the mining disaster in Soma really shows a government out of touch. We saw a very, very cold response by the Prime Minister, in which he attempted to excuse the accident, the tragedy, by citing 19th century mining accidents in Britain. We saw one of his close aides kicking a demonstrator who was being held down by the police. In fact, there are now reports that the Prime Minister himself may have punched a protester in a supermarket near the coal mine. So I think that overall the response could have been a lot better than it was.
Yeah, and obviously it's things like that have caused a lot of anger in Turkey. Do you think this will give more impetus to the Gülenist movement?
I don't think the Gülenists can really benefit from this tragedy. I think that the Gülenists, that the unremitting campaign against them by the Prime Minister has convinced now many Turks that the Gülenists may be a fifth column in Turkish politics. So I think the government's demonization campaign against the Gülenists seems to be quite effective.
And many people have talked about the safety conditions in the mines as a result of the privatisation. What does this say about popular perceptions of how Turkish business and the economy has been handled by the ruling party?
I think that the issue is not it is not simply the issue of privatization, because we have seen that coal mines under public ownership have resulted in major accidents, such as the one in Zonguldak in 1992, in which 263 Turkish miners lost their lives. The key issue, the key problem is the unhealthy relationship between private business and the government, and also the fact that the government is not properly enforcing health and safety rules and regulations in the private workplace.
Do you think we'll see more protests and strikes by trade unions in the coming weeks and even months?
I think in the short term, I do not foresee that there'll be mass demonstrations in Turkey, nor will we see much extensive action by the trade union movement. I think because there's upcoming elections in August, so that will give a chance. There'll be upcoming presidential elections in August, which will give a chance for the public to voice their opinion. Also, there's also general elections coming up, general parliamentary elections coming up by June next year. Again, giving another opportunity. So, given the number of elections, I think in the short term, it seems unlikely that Turkey will witness mass protests and labor action.
And in relation to the election, for which I believe Erdogan has posed his candidacy for president, do you think that the incident will be reflected in public votes?
I think that the incident has dented Prime Minister Erdogan's reputation as an effective and competent administrator, but I don't think that this incident on its own will result in a calamitous decline in his popularity. So yes, we will see that this incident may likely shave some of his popularity among his core religious and conservative supporters, but I don't think that Prime Minister is yet finished in Turkish politics.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, Fadi Hakura.
Thank you.
That was Fadi Hakura from Chatham House. And for more updates, please visit levant.tv. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.